everyone, it's me, ShadowLeft8173 here, and today I'm going to do another, well, this is going to be a little bit different, but it is a 6 True Scary Small Town Stories, Volume 10, and I'm going to be doing a little bit more parts on it, but this is by Swamp Dweller, so really all rights go to him, just so, because, yeah, so let's do it. Swamp Dweller.
Small towns are usually tight-knit,
Scary small
quiet
town
communities
stories.
with not much crime. Or so they want you to think. It seems like some of the creepiest of stories come from small towns all over the world. It seems no matter where you live in this world, a horror story is waiting for you, just around the corner. Are you from a small town? How about a big city? No matter where you're from, I am always looking for fresh new stories. If you have a story you would like to submit to the show, go to swampdweller.net and send it on in. I'd love to share your story with everyone here in the swamp. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below. Now, let's get into these creepy, allegedly true stories from small towns. I live in eastern Tennessee with our husband and 3 dogs. We live in a lakeside home in Greenback. If you are familiar with the area, you have likely heard of Hope Castle. The castle is about a 2-minute hike through the woods from my place. The story I'm about to tell isn't recent and is from a time before the castle was open to the general populace. It was early in the year 2000 and the night was cold. I was unable to sleep, so I took Freddy, my English Mastiff, for a walk in the woods. Keep in mind, he's about 200 pounds. We were walking by a little creek near the castle when I heard howling, closer to a cry in truth, in the distance. This was the point where my dog began acting nervous, which is highly unlike him. I saw a crack in the castle wall, and upon entering it, I was overtaken with the smell of rust and iron.
Guy's channel.
The smell was bad enough it made my eyes water. I began walking around, searching for the source of the awful smell, at which point I entered a room with light. The source of light was 3 tea-light candles in the room. I found an 8-foot-tall half-human, half-dog-looking creature. The creature smelled of death, and I immediately turned to run, but behind me, I could hear the creature screeching my name. The sound was terrifying. I tried running again, but my dog just wouldn't move. The creature ran toward us, at which point Freddy lunged at it. He tried latching onto the creature's chest. However, the creature threw Freddy at me. It was at this point, Freddy got up and began running with me. Behind us, I could still hear the creature screeching my name.
The poor doggo.
This continued as I ran all the way home.
And poor you.
Until, finally, I slammed the door behind me, and the creature's screams and screeches suddenly fell silent. Examining my brave Freddy, I noticed he had 3 claw marks in the side of his breast. I took Freddy to the vet, and they had to euthanize him. By morning, he had black mold growing inside his wounds.
Whoa.
Yes, you heard that right. Black mold. Shortly after this, we cremated Freddy and took his ashes to his favorite lake. 19 years later, I opened my window and heard the screeches of that creature again. The next morning, I looked at my house to find 3 claw marks across the front door. And now, I'm really not sure what to do. I haven't heard it or seen any more scratches since then.
Oh, wow. That probably was heartbreaking.
I live in Leavenworth, Kansas, and my story starts like this. I'd been watching creepypasta videos for 2 or 3 weeks and was on a skinwalker kick, which was natural as my mother is noticeably Native American, and my siblings and I have Native American in us as well. I'm driving my brother to work when I make a turn down a road shortly after sunset and notice far off in the distance an outline in the woods. I didn't focus too much on it and brushed it off. On the way back, I took the same way home. Everything is chill. Later on, when I need to pick my brother up again, on the way home, I notice an outline in the woods again. This time, however, it is more dog-like in shape. When we're about 300 yards away from the creature, I quickly
And yes,
identify
I'm
it as
kind
a
of getting
coyote.
goosebumps, honestly.
I start to become overcome with a shakiness akin to the kind when you're hunting. I'm an experienced and self-taught hunter, and the animal you've been chasing is within killing sight. At about 100 yards from the creature, it comes out, tail tucked between its legs, trotting towards us. About 40 to 50 yards away, something just seems incredibly off. I noticed. I can see its eyes, as though it were daylight, and they were completely black.
Ugh.
As we were moving past the creature, it just stands there, staring at us with this weird and menacing look. The stare was weird. It was as if it was looking inside of us. I had already passed the creature, and was roughly 100 yards away again when I stopped.
Oh my gosh.
The creature
Mhm.
was still there staring at us. I pulled a
I'm
U-turn
even-
when the thing
this
trotted
is
off in
really
the other
getting me
direction,
unsettled.
still staring,
And I'm home
as though
alone,
it wanted us to
so-
follow it. We drive at a dead-end street with another patch of woods. We were turning right to follow the creature
I'm
when it
just glad I'm
vanished.
not like watching like
I was going to hop
stalkers
out
or
and
just,
check what was up,
like
but
those.
my
like,
brother,
pops in
who had an extremely bad feeling, told me not to.
YouTube seeing their
We
stalkers.
left after this quickly.
That kind
I'm
of
not
thing
sure
that
what
makes
was
me
up,
feel like I'm being
but
watched.
I don't let it
like,
stop me from enjoying
now,
hunting or the
that just makes me
wilderness.
feel like,
Maybe the thing was just messing with us.
let me just get.
Maybe it was up to something sinister. I'll likely never
Okay, so I'm picking.
know.
Okay, I think I might listen to half of this, and then that'll be end of part 1.
I'm a maintenance technician for a residential property in Colorado, and I'm also Native American. I live in a very urban area near a wooded area from my city, so part of my job is to handle emergency calls after hours when all hits the fan. Anyway, I go on call, and the first few nights were really quiet. This would change one night around 2:30 in the morning, when I got an emergency call for a hot water heater leaking. I responded quickly as I live on the property, so it doesn't take me too long to head over. The caller ended up having to replace a hot water heater, so I started walking to our shed where we keep spare part heaters. When, all of a sudden, I see this huge dog-like thing just glaring at me from 30 feet away. It had these very yellow eyes, and I make sure I know where this dog is as I'm solo on the job. While I'm loading up the hot water onto a dolly, I notice this dog kinda looks disfigured. It's about 20 feet from me, and it starts making these noises I've never heard before. I start to get a little nervous, but I continue doing my job.
I'd be too.
So I'm walking the water heater over the
Oh my God,
dolly
this is giving me
across the
goosebumps.
property,
Oh my gosh.
and I have the feeling I'm being watched. I start to hear the sounds of hoofs on the road. When I look behind
8
me,
minutes, I'm only
and
at
this
8
dog
minutes.
has these horse-like hoofs. I end up freaking out, drop the hot water heater, and flee into a vacant unit. I make sure the unit is secure, all doors and windows are locked, etc. I pull out my knife and flashlight. I try to take up a tactical position in this vacant unit and remain as quiet as
Oh
I
my
can.
gosh.
I stay in this position for about 2 minutes, just listening when I start to hear these hoofs outside the window. I start thinking about how I can withdraw from this situation when I hear this tapping on the window, which soon starts to get louder as it goes on. All of a
We got
sudden,
10 minutes,
it just randomly
or
gets
like
cold in this vacant
12,
unit.
maybe 12 minutes.
I was able to
of the
see my
video.
breath in
I'll
the
just
unit,
click off.
so I turned the heat on early in the day to 68 degrees. This is when I realized there is a patio door that leads to the main road.
Just don't want
I move
this video
quickly,
to be long.
open the door, and book it as fast as I can out of the unit. I'm running as fast as I can, and I can hear these hooves running right behind me. They are gaining on me at this point, and I'm in full flight mode. This thing starts to make these horrible noises as it tries to get me, and I'm trying to think so hard of where I can get that is safe. I decided to try and make it to our maintenance office, as it has power tools I believe I could use to defend myself with. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the maintenance office. I end up literally running into a passing squad car responding to a noise complaint. The cop jumps out and asks me if I'm okay, and at this point, I'm out of breath. That's when, from the wooded area, we hear this bloody scream. The cop radios in for additional cars to respond, and I tell the officer exactly what had happened. She looks at me with this look that I could tell that she thought I was crazy. I told her to follow me to the fake unit though, and I'd show her the imprint in the dirt. She does this and her mouth hits the floor when she sees the print. About 6 or more squad cars respond and they end up going through the wooded area, but they come up dry. They don't find anything, but every once in a while, when I'm out on work orders or just smoking a cigarette, I get this feeling like something is watching me, and the hairs stand up on the back of my neck.
Story 4. Yeah, so I'll stop it right there. So at 10:29. So that's the end of part 1, and yeah, so that would be part 1, and then yeah, soon as I can, I'll try and do part 2. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. And also, I'm kind of wondering, would you like to see a outro from our channel? Like, so maybe like I mean, like the same thing that I did for like how I did the intro. Would you guys like to see an outro? Want to know that. But yeah, so before I make this video so long, just once again, just want to say thank you, and I'll try and make a part 2 as soon as I can.